24, welcome to the storm after the storm. What's up, Shari?
I'm good. How are you? Good
I'm
morning,
good.
everyone.
Okay. Azard should be joining us later on. It's Monday, October 23, 2023, and I just wanna go do this notice again concerning schools. Schools are open today. Apparently, there was a Sharon. Apparently, there was a release at first where it seemed as though they were mulling not opening schools, but then they eventually decided to open schools. So public schools are open today. I know my wife said that. I like not to say anything until she said that. Over there was not going to be open, but I'm not
you
sure.
mean
Convent,
Well,
but I'm not sure. So
Catholic school.
we can't speak for the private schools, but school is definitely on today. And of course, just letting you guys know, there's a flash flood warning in effect up until midday today, and the rains and the thunderstorm activity will continue for the next 24 hours. So that's good to know, and we need to send some praises up, right?
Yes, because Tammy, she took a little while to get here. And when we really expected to get maybe some of the winds from, because she was a Category 1 hurricane, and at one point she had gotten a little bit stronger, still in the Category 1 range, but a little bit stronger. And, for us, it shifted to Barbuda, the winds anyway, that part of it, and we got a rain, and what a lot of rain it was. A lot. I haven't seen that kind of steady rain in a very long time.
And I saw the videos, right? Like I saw all these videos with rain and stuff. I'm like, where I live, Bastyr, and the rain didn't really start until late, and the rain didn't really come very hard until very late, maybe late yesterday or maybe.
What? Because where I am, which is up in the same
area,
because
someone who lives up there told me that
it was raining, cats, dogs, all animals.
It wasn't raining down here.
Really?
At the time. No, that's why.
It's amazing, God's work is amazing.
I know. So I was saying, but then it's higher elevation, so that's expected.
No, but seriously, it would like, the hard rain, like coming down, and then it will ease up a little bit, and then all over again. You're like, okay.
But someone sent me a video this morning with some idiot trying to cross College Street and almost got washed down.
See, this is the thing, though. This is the thing.
I don't know.
I don't.
Walking, a pedestrian.
He was walking, yes, and trying to cross College Street. The thing is, we haven't had that kind of rainfall in quite a while, and for some reason or the other, or a very strong hurricane for quite a while, like 20 some years, right? And for some reason or the other, people tend to forget what College Street can do when you really push it to the test, right? Really and truly, once the water that's coming down gets to a certain width, you should not try to cross it. Not because of the width of the water either, or the flow of the water. That should be enough. But the fact that you don't know what's in the water when you're trying to cross it. And see, he lost his balance and went down. No, I'm also cognizant of the fact that there are people living here who are not Kittians who haven't actually seen College Street gut at work.
This is true.
Right? So I'm not sure if he's somebody who has lived here and seen College Street do its due, or it's somebody who's now living here from somewhere else. But for anybody who is listening, who is not from St. Kitts and Nevis, when you see College Street gut start to get going,
maybe he wants
to not try to cross it.
Maybe you want to start a line of T-shirts. I took a dip in College Street gut. You don't know. It's possible.
We're making light of it, yeah. But it's really dangerous, and you really shouldn't. And I've seen cars go down.
I went Tammy dipping in College Street gut.
I've seen cars go down, unfortunately, not in College Street gut, but another gut in the countryside. 2 people did lose their lives because I don't remember which hurricane, if it was George's or Louis, but yeah. So we don't encourage anybody. If you see the gut that wide, just take a walk down on the Bay Road and go over the bridge and go where you need to go.
Yeah, but the person was it like from Church Street? It looked like.
It looked like from
Church Street. No,
Central.
Liverpool Road.
No, it looks like Central to me. If I remember correctly, let me see. Let me go back to the video. But it looked like Central Street. It looked like Central. I could be wrong. I would have to go back and watch it again. but don't try to cross the gut.
I know.
I mean, back in the day when it was really like we used to get a lot of rain, and we didn't have camera phones or cameras back then, and it was doing some things. Boulders would be rolling down. You would hear talk of, oh, I heard the boulders rolling down the gut. You know, yeah, but you didn't have anything to capture it with. So now the gut isn't running at full, I don't even want to say it like that, at full capacity, or at the capacity that we know it can run. But don't take the chance and do it either. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, dude was just doing too much.
Don't do it.
And he seems though he managed to get to the step on the other side. Looked like the step by Coolies. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
Well,
do I have the angle right?
I do. I still have to go back. I haven't watched the video yet.
Yeah, I think it's But
just for everybody listening, whether you're a Kittian or not, or a Vision or not, don't try to cross the gut. Not College Street gut. You might get away with Westbourne, but don't try College Street. It will try. You could try it, and it will try you.
True.
Don't do it.
True.
Don't do it.
True. And I saw all the videos with Nevis as well, with the bat got bat got running full. And apparently, some people hadn't seen that in a while.
Yeah, it was right. It was definitely Church Street, because I could see government headquarters. So yeah, it was Church Street.
And someone put a fake. Somebody did I remember before the storm started Friday, someone put up a fake video saying it was St. Lucia, and apparently it was an old video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, already?
But I have to say, the internet, right? The sayings I saw on social media, because as we know, Tammy was supposed to get here, we would start feeling the effects at a certain time. She decided she's going to stay a little longer down there. So then all these things came up on social media like, she, met somebody in Guadeloupe, so she's spending a little bit more time there. That's why she's not here yet. Or Tammy is like a typical woman, she can't make up her mind. I'm like, y'all need to leave the young lady alone.
So I saw someone sent me a message, a meme about in the Caribbean, even the hurricanes are late.
Oh, well. But you see, she was taking her time and trying to get herself together. She had some sharing going on. So, at one point she was doing 15, and then she dropped down to 9, and then she dropped down to 7, and she went back up to 8. So, yeah, all of that would affect, the time frame as to when she would get to us. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
In a perverse way, it's like it was this big anticlimax because, people went and bought off all the toilet paper. Well, maybe not toilet paper, but...
But then you see, it was a Category 1 hurricane. And honestly, if we have to get a hurricane, I would want a Category 1. I wouldn't want anything higher. We've seen all the higher. We don't want them.
But you realize where the danger lies. When you have a storm that's moving that slowly, it could be Category 1, and the damage will
That's true. That's true as well. That's true as well. But my mind was on Dorian, honestly, back in Bahamas, back in what year? I can't remember the year. It was 2019. I think it was 2019 when he hit.
That one.
And
that
he was
terrible.
moving at what, 2 miles per hour? And I'm like,
serious?
basically, he went to sleep.
Sat over the Bahamas for like.
And the slower a storm is, it is worse, for sure.
So I didn't realize it was 2 miles per hour.
I think it was 2 miles per hour.
That's basically stationary.
Basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's why it did so
funeral
much.
processions move faster than that.
That's why it was so damaging. But we're hoping that everybody is okay. Of course, sometimes with most people who own homes or, you're even renting, you don't even know that there's a problem with a leak until you get like a, heavy rainfall. So we hope that there wasn't too much damage or leaks where you
absolutely.
are. And hopefully everybody just kind of enjoyed the fact that we were resting because, it was comfortable enough to rest for those. Hopefully that happened to everybody. I know it couldn't happen to everybody, but I'm hoping that was the majority of the experience yesterday because that was a lot of rain. And then sometime after 3 this morning, the lightning show by me. Mind you, it was doing that before I even dozed off, but after 3 I actually woke up because it was so bright. I'm like, what's happening? And then I realized, and then the thunder hit right after that. I'm like, yo. She means business. She not even here anymore, but she means business.
It's 8:34. This is a good time to repeat this notice. Someone just sent me a notice, which I actually had read this morning, just before 8. But yeah, I guess this would be a good time to read it again. I neglected to read it a second time when I was reading the one about schools. So it says, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, acting on the advice of the St. Kitts Met Office and NEMA, has advised that there will be a gradual improvement of the weather conditions in St. Kitts and Nevis. As a result, normal operations will resume today. Citizens and residents are asked to continue to exercise caution while traversing the road network and to listen to local authorities for more updates. But of course, I should add that the weather report says that there is a tropical, a flash flood watch in effect until midday today. So that's something to think about, because you never know. You never know where a hillside or something might just decide to.
And that's where, if you are driving, you need to not be speeding on the road because the roads are wet and slick. You need to ensure that your seatbelt is on. You need to also ensure that you give the car in front of you enough space that if you need, or if that person needs to make a sudden stop, that you don't hit them in the back. You know, just be mindful of all these things as you're driving. I mean, imagine yesterday in the heat of everything, I heard cars on the road, and I'm like, why? Why? Where do you need to go? Why?
But actually yesterday, but you see, I don't know, it must be where I live, because yesterday, I mean, most of during the day, it was pretty quiet, and there was no rain.
Really?
At one point,
believe.
At one point, I was considering going to see if Best Buy was open.
What? Listen.
So all this time it was raining.
Raining and raining.
Okay, so I understand.
Raining.
That's
like
different.
Nobody's business.
Yeah,
but then again, I always say up there is like a whole lot of climate.
You guys have your own microclimate.
I was just going to say. Yeah. I was just about to say. Up there's a whole lot of story. But it was raining and raining and raining and raining. My fan never got so much rest in its life.
We should let the listeners know that there is no traffic talk today.
Yes.
But we're going to get a word from the sponsor and come right back.
Caribbean Alliance.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Okay, we are back. It's 8:38 Island Tea. And like I said, there is no traffic talk today, but of course traffic talk will be brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. So big ups to them. And we will be, the phone lines are basically open. You guys maybe want to call and talk about the storm. And I should say, coming up in Voices today, I'll be sitting in for Socrates today. I will have John Francis in. He will be discussing some Native American as in the Taino and the Kalinago, the people from this region. Some lore relating to the way they lived back then and hurricanes. I learned some very interesting stuff last night, so he's going to be on Voices this morning talking about it. Some very, very interesting stuff. So,
in terms of how they would predict,
yes,
what happened with the weather,
and a whole bunch of stuff. I was really, blown away.
This was their area.
Yes.
I think they would know,
and the insignificance of St. Kitts and stuff. Yes, apparently St. Kitts was very significant, and on Voices this morning, John Francis. It's going to be very interesting, trust me. And let's take our first phone call, Sharon. How about you do the honors?
Hi, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, good morning.
And good morning to the listeners home on abroad. Carl Brown here. Well, I am safe and good, and nothing was done to us here in Shadwell Housing Project. We enjoy the rain and little lightning and thunder.
Listen, a whole lot of lightning and thunder.
Yes, very powerful too. One question: do you guys have any number how much inches of rain we got in them few days?
I did see something on a notice I got from NEMA that said 4 to 5 inches.
Really? We got 4 to 5? Because initially they were saying, I think it was the National Hurricane Center that was saying anywhere between, I think it was 4 to 8, I think, and 12 maximum, I think.
But that's what they were forecasting.
That's what they were forecasting.
But then the other thing to note is
that.
But the other thing to note is that that figure I saw this morning was up to yesterday.
Okay.
So it probably will be a little different. And also, it's also important to note that rainfall levels it's an average, it's not because you'll have different. For example, up where you live,
way more than everybody else.
Where you live in Rainwell or whatever up there is called. It's probably a lot more. I'm surprised Cal didn't get more rain though up in Shadwell.
Cal, you got a lot of rain in Shadwell?
Well, yesterday, but Friday and Saturday was just drizzle, off and on.
Yes.
But yesterday until this morning, we got a very, very good bit of rain, a couple inches well. So that's why I was asking. You know why I asked that? Because in the next couple of weeks, I don't want to hear that Constituency 8 having the same water problem. That's why I asked.
But then you see, Cal, because we haven't been getting the kind of rain that we normally get overall, we're already at a deficit. The question is, how much rain would you need to make up that and increase it? That's the problem.
Well, we got a good bit yesterday to this morning, and that should make up for some of Constituency 8 water problem.
But again, like I said, it depends on the deficit that it already has.
Carl, I don't know about that because the story, what I heard Mr. Williams say this morning from earlier in the week, we had, the Sunday news. Monday news is usually the week in review. There was a clip there, I remember, where he said that even during the wet season last year, we only got 60% of what we normally get.
And then that was like half.
Yes, and then he said for this year so far, it's only about 69% of that. Only 69% of that 60% last year. Yes, that's what he said.
Oh, wow.
So and remember last year we did not got no rain in the hurricane season. It was very hot. So now we have this good bit of rain for the last few days from Friday until now. That should make up a good bit. I mean, it's not what we as much as we want, but I hope that constituency number 8 would have a little relief now in the next couple of weeks from all of this rain.
I hear what you're saying.
And as we hear the minister say that they have found water, but they are going through the testings and that sort of thing. So hopefully, if that is so, we should not hear so many cries out of constituency number 8 in the next couple of weeks. Let me say, going down now to the Christmas season, I hope constituency number 8 would have a better water solution for all this rain that we had.
Well,
that's my thing.
We could be as hopeful as we possibly can, but if we're not getting kind of rainfall still, it can still be a problem, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
And until they get
the wells, we will get another 5-6 inches of rain.
It would be nice. It really would be nice, but I don't know.
Yes. I mean, we know we're easy to flood. We're going to flood off all that water, and up to now we have not come up with no solution. as I keep telling them, we can build sluices in the guts to trap a lot of this water, and we can have a better water solution, because those water will be going to the farm instead of using the water, the normal drinking water, sending it to the farm. If we keep chopping some of this water when we have the lots of rain, and if we keep putting spouts on our house and chop the water in tanks and cisterns and things, we wouldn't have this water problem that we're having even in the drought season here.
That's true. I think what we need to do...
Nobody studying carbon, because you see, me went Harvard. Right? You got to come out of Harvard and you got to come here with a fake plan in a briefcase and a $2,000 watch and a shiny pair of shoes, and you could fool the officials.
Smooth bottom shoes.
Gone, guys.
Bye. Have a good one. No, but I hear what he's saying. I think we do. God. I think we really do need to invest in that, and not even just from the government standpoint, but us as citizens as well. Because the kind of rain that we used to get before, we're not getting it. And I don't want to say that this is something that is going to be the new norm. I don't want to say that, but it's kind of looking like it. And in this heat, it's just not letting up.
And while I understand a lot of this stuff takes time, I mean, you know, they announced the desal plants that I think we were getting 2 plants from one of those Gulf states. I don't remember which one. You know, that's going to take a while.
Yep.
Caller, go right ahead.
Oh, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Jamston, good morning,
Hey.
Sharon.
Morning.
And good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, I called to give God thanks, you know. Because when I heard the prognosis, he was heading for us, I said, Lord have mercy. Well, he really had mercy. Now, well, I'm trying to find Fabio, a Spanish chap, who did some work for me on my window. Fabio, if you know Fabio, tell him Mrs. Henry is looking for him urgently. Now, do you have any information on what happened in Antigua? Somebody was saying something in Barbuda.
So from
Anguilla,
what I saw,
do you have any information?
Actually, I do.
I saw, there was minimal damage. I think at least from what I saw last time, and that was today's Monday. So on Saturday, maybe Sunday, that there were 9 people actually in shelters. I'm not sure why. In
the BVI?
No, in Barbuda.
Oh, in Barbuda.
Because I started hearing, I started hearing that they got really mashed up. But luckily for me, I'm on a WhatsApp group with entity in Antigua, and so they actually shared some footage in terms of, you saw water in certain areas. I think there was like a piece of a roof that came off, at least in the area where that person actually took the drive. But I don't think it was anything near Irma or anything like that. And for the most part, the winds didn't really do that much on Barbuda, from what I saw.
What about Anguilla?
Anguilla, I can't say I saw anything on. I've seen anything on Anguilla yet, honestly.
Actually, I do have something here. What happened was some situation reports came out from SEDEMA. You know, SEDEMA is the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. They're based in Barbados. They sent out situation reports for some of the islands. So Anguilla basically says hurricane warning was discontinued at 8 a.m. Yesterday, Sunday. The all clear was issued at 9:20 a.m. yesterday. All ports, air and sea, were reopened at 10 a.m. A flash flood watch remains in effect till 8 a.m. today, Monday. And the public service and schools will resume normal operations today. As at 11 a.m., there have been no reports or incidents of damage. That would be 11 a.m. yesterday. As for Antigua, the hurricane warning was discontinued at 5 a.m. yesterday. A flood watch was issued at 9 a.m. On Barbuda, 7 persons were in shelters, 3 adults and 4 children. On Antigua, shelterees are returning to their homes. The search and rescue teams remain on standby until the flash flood advisory has been discontinued. No significant incidents, damage, or flooding have been reported, and along with the Meteorological Service, NODS, I'm assuming that's the National Emergency Management Agency. They continue to monitor the progress of the trailing feeder bands, and will update the public as necessary. I also have something here for the BVI. It says that the Department of Disaster Management reported the tropical storm watch was discontinued at 11 p.m. on Saturday. Interesting. All ports have been reopened. Public awareness continues via the governor and premier, and the Department of Disaster Management continues to monitor the trailing rain bands and update the public as necessary. Then Dominica, the all clear was issued yesterday, and a flood watch was issued for Saturday for 24 hours. Heavy rainfall was experienced late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Minimal land slippage reported, and emergency services and the public utilities with heavy equipment remain on alert. The public has been advised to exercise caution as more rain is expected throughout the day, and that was yesterday. So, as for Montserrat...
That sounds really good, but in terms of the school, how many parents can really send their children out in this weather to schools? Because there has been no report on the condition of the schools.
Yes, I see. I don't know if they sent advance.
Because some school yards and so would be flooded,
Depending, yes.
Yeah, good point. Speaking of which...
Well, I know civil servants ain't going nowhere. If they go, they're going to just creep in after one.
the only place they can get away with that. The civil service, meaning...
Actually, I don't know about that because I saw one of those... you remember I was saying that, people were making all of these jokes about... let me don't actually say what the person said, but they were saying something about USVI. I'm gonna leave it right there. But saying something else.
Okay.
Because I do not know that to be a fact or not. So It was a joke, and I'll leave it right there.
Okay. But did you speak?
Anyway, give God thanks.
Yes.
I was wondering what effect or impact the lightning would have on our electrical system.
Well,
but thank God the electricity did not go.
No, it didn't.
It did not.
I know sometimes when it is that fierce.
It was loud.
Yeah, and this morning I woke up to go to the bathroom, and I tell you, I was up for hours. Thunder.
Yeah.
All the people who live near the mountains, all of St. Peter's, and so I said, Lord, you could hear it rolling over the hills.
Yeah.
Where was Gumbs here had no rain Saturday?
No, I didn't say I didn't have any rain. I was just saying that Saturday, there was one part of Saturday when I was like, well, supermarkets could have been open today, so I could go get some ice cream.
You should have gotten that before. I know, that's what he wanted, ice cream.
Ice cream.
Not for me, really.
Not for you, sure.
Yeah.
Supposedly the children.
All of you who complaining that, the hurricane ain't come, Lord.
We don't want one, really.
When the show started last night, I said, they should be glad. Because if we got so much rain, was Newtown flooded? I'm going to come off the line now.
I don't know, but
okay.
I haven't seen any reports. But interestingly, I wanted to say this earlier. There was a video of flooding in front of Marriott going on.
But I think that's because there's a slope so the water can't settle, to be honest. So in areas like that where you have a little bit of a slope, that's where the water will,
Yeah, I've never seen it flood like that there before. But then you're right. That area tends, because the Gulf Coast, when we have a lot of rain and so on.
Right.
Yeah. So
I hope NEMA going to give some, location then. And has the new improved road works helped to reduce the gut running? Because I heard that they ran the old road one under the road too.
I saw a video of that with old road running, but yeah, under the road.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And then the one up by Canada. The broad one after it passed contact going over there. Remember, it used to.
Oh, okay.
I can't really speak to that one.
Yeah, but that one has always been under the road.
Yes, all of you who have the information, send them to WINNFM. I am listening.
Yeah, I've said,
and again, I want to give God a high note of praise. Hip, 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 hip. Hallelujah for Jesus.
And amen.
And give God thanks.
Speaking to the choir.
Also, the light works. The one you saw in the park can't compare.
Not a thing. No way. Cannot.
So all who miss it, That must be when go sleep drunk. Some people something I hear thing. Some people say they didn't hear thing. They have to go to sleep drunk.
Oh, Miss Henry,
have a good day.
Yes,
have a good day, Miss Henry.
Before you go, remember, I'm sure you might have some. Oh, she's
Sorry,
gone.
gone.
Okay, she'll hear.
She'll hear, yeah.
Yeah. So, what time is it now? It's 8:54.
It is. 6 minutes to 9.
Once again, letting the listeners know that there's no traffic talk today, which is why we're running our mouths at this moment.
Yeah.
About everything else except traffic. Traffic talk would be brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. How about we get a quick word from them, Shari, and then we come back. Oh, let's take this call. We can take this call and then we can do that afterwards. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Quickly.
Hey.
How the weather treat you, my brother?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, Mr.
Hey, it was pretty good.
How the weather treat you? I hope ain't on it as because he ain't make it in today.
No, he's
and
good.
And the young lady feeling in. She sound good. Yeah, Mr. Watch you.
Lucky do.
Why is it these government workers when a little rain fall? We ain't getting a storm, you know. The storm or not. Why is it they don't want to come out to do government work? Why? What's happening to these ministers and supervisors? Look at the state of the terminal.
Okay, jam down.
Huh?
Yeah, jam down in the wake of a storm. How about we keep down the government bashing and so on? I agree.
Once the storm in directly and sink it, you got to go walk. You got to do public walk. What stupidness you talking, youngster?
No, I'm just saying is the way you say it. You could be a little more,
what?
you know. We should be about gratitude right now.
Nemo and the Elbow, they didn't forthcoming with information. The breakdown to what we used to have before. You know? They used to give us the information through the media. So you got to instill these things into people.
Yeah, but everything isn't a political conspiracy.
University, you know. I come from the road, and I understand it. And the road, don't come to me with them things, jump up. We got to understand this is how it is. Look at people. During this time, you can't get the information. People up and down. And everybody listen to radio. And everybody got the phone. Could check a storm and the weather channel. Come on. For why is he disappointed badly? Have a good day.
All right, thank you for calling.
Okay.
You're gonna take that break and come back?
Yeah, he does have a
point.
We
will comment if we want to. Yeah, take that break.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Now, we were just talking. It's 2 minutes until 9 o'clock. And once again, if you're just joining us, there was no traffic talk today. Traffic talk is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. They're the sponsor of this day part. I've got Shari here with me in case you're just joining us. Island T. Azard should be making his way in at some point. I just, in the wake of what Miss Henry was saying, I just had a very interesting comment.
Mm-hmm.
And the comment is actually very valid. Listen to this. Miss Henry is groping for excuses to avoid school. Cars were floating on the streets of Brooklyn a few weeks ago. There was no closing of schools or government offices that day or the next. That's a very good point. Discuss.
I mean, yes, that person does have a very valid point. A very valid point. And then, you know, I guess the quote unquote excuse will be, well, we're not in the U.S., you know, and we do things a little different around here, that kind of thing. But I understand I understand completely what they're saying, and that should be a standard, but unfortunately, that's not how we operate around here. Jamster, you were saying that we got around, 4 inches of rain? About 4, you said?
4 to 5, they said.
4 to 5 inches? Yeah. Because I'm actually looking
But that was up to yesterday, so I imagine.
I'm looking at a newspaper that is curated and sent via WhatsApp from Antigua. And it said, Barbuda drenched by Tammy. Antigua records 2 inches of rain. And I'm like, 2?
2 inches of rain?
2?
Wow.
2.
But it's like I told you, like where I live, I didn't get the impression. It's only, the rain only really started late yesterday and part of Saturday. Remember I told you I was contemplating going to see Best Buy was open.
Right.
And we were home saying, well.
And that's another thing too. Should we talk about the fact that even though, you know, we were told to stay in place and listen to our radios, and the caller before did make a good point. We know we are in the season. We know that having a radio, a good old transistor radio, or, well, I can't say one you could plug up, because if current goes, then, you know, that's kind of out the door.
Yeah, but they have rechargeable batteries now.
They do, but then you don't know how long the electricity will be off for, and then you can't charge again. But you're supposed to shelter in place, and just because things look cute now don't mean they won't change in an hour or two. I think we're getting kind of, for lack of a better term, slack.
Calls, don't forget we're taking your calls.
A little bit slack.
Take the mic from Sharon every now and then.
Just because it looks a little kind of how don't mean you should open up, is all I'm saying. Because you don't know, and then you might be putting other people in an issue as well. If you open up and then next thing you know, an hour or two things change, and then you're like, oh no, how am I gonna get home? You know, because the conditions have changed. Yeah. But yes, I understand what he was saying. Yeah. The caller was saying about having a radio, always checking in to see. I understand
I absolutely agree. I mean, I remember telling someone recently they need to get a radio, like a little radio, because
everybody thinks
they're asking me some like basic stuff. I said, well, how come you don't know that?
That's what happens when you don't get a hurricane in 20 years.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You get lackadaisical. You get, not gonna happen, man. We blessed. We all right. We're not saying that just because you get a hurricane doesn't mean you're not blessed.
I'm just thinking about what you said earlier about that person trying to cross College Street. Maybe that could be one of those Dominicanos.
Like I said, it could be somebody not from here who's not familiar with the fact that, mind you, the gut ain't running how it used to run it.
True.
Even though you saw it looking like that, it does not run how it used to. But, yeah, we just have to exercise caution. We have to make sure we stay safe. We know we are in hurricane season, and yes, we say, we're blessed, nothing can actually happen, or whatever. But just exercise some caution.
I was looking at that.
Don't put yourself out there.
I feel like I'm starting to think like someone who lives on the planet June now.
Yep.
Like I'm beginning to realize, as each day passes, I realize how precious water is. And I was looking at those videos from yesterday, and I'm like, my God, look at all that water going to waste.
I know. I wish I had a tank.
But I also wish the government would build some more catchments, for in the path of some of these where a lot of this runoff happens. So there would be like reservoirs in a sense, big catchment areas, because that's a lot of water wasting. I mean, when you see the water coming down.
How high up would you go though?
Well, I leave that to the engineers. I leave that to Mr. Cromwell and all.
It would have to be way up, way before it comes down here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if.
I mean, I know it's expensive.
And I was just gonna say,
mountainous,
not just expensive, but because of the land, the land slope. Landscape. That's what I meant.
We have a call.
Okay.
Hi, caller. Shut her up. Oh. Let's go. Shut up, Sharon. Go ahead. Let's go.
Me like you.
Hey, what's up?
In the days of the sugar factory, because I work at the sugar factory, I work at the factory P, and I work at a number of estates. What they used to do is dig sloughs sluice from the mountain come right down to the lowland because, you know, the water used to shoot from the mountain come down. And they would have sluice. So when the water is coming down, the water would go in the sluice them. And the water was in those sluices sometime up to 3 weeks, sometime up to a month. Right? And people, animals used to go and get water from those sluices and things. So doing these sluices in these guts, you could do it from right up the mountain, come right down. Because as the water come down according and full these sluices, as it go down, it keep fulling from the mountain to the lowland.
So I kind of staggered thing.
For all of those farms land, all you need is pump and hose. You will have all that water to come to all those farmlands and both sides of those guts and right up from the mountain. And you know, people farm from the lowland right up to the mountain. And then one of the things, I hope all these people who have gotten those tanks, I know they're not connected yet, I hope they had them under the house, right there by the where the roof is, so all that rain will come off the roof, and I hope they had the cover off so the tank will be full now. But then, you know, we have to ask the question, how are they going to get that water out of the tank now?
Without the pumps, you mean?
Without the pump and without the pipe.
But
even if they had a pipe screwing it, you could have turned on the pipe and the water run out.
But you could have a gravity fed system where you have the tank elevated. But the problem with that is, what do you do in hurricane with winds when we have real winds? I mean, you know, so then you have other engineering considerations.
But I'm sure the people who have tanks on their homes, because it's a growing thing where people are actually getting a water tank, I'm sure they've worked out what they're doing for themselves with regard to how are they going to access the water. I can't speak to it because I don't know. I intend to at some point do it.
The people who have tanks had the tanks with the plumbing connection run through the whole house, because I know a number of persons, and I go to the house and that water run right through the whole house, the machine, the bath, everything, the zinc, everything.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, that is easy to do. All you have to do is call your reliable good plumber, and they will tell you, they will give you an estimate of what connections you need, and you purchase it and they hook it up.
But the thing that needs to happen though, so to do away with the problem we're just talking about, where if we really had high winds, that it's possible that tank could get blown over or blown away, is have people build cisterns.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, well, that's what I always saying for systems, and that tank, that could be served too, because you could put a shed over your tank.
Yeah, that's true.
And your tank could be to the back or to the side of your house where much wind or the hurricane wind is not blowing that heavy.
Yeah, there's that as well. But with a cistern, you would need a pump, I guess.
We know the forecast of the area the hurricane does come from, so we just make the definite changes and set our tanks in the proper way to avoid a category 4 or 5 hurricane.
We don't want that.
Here's something to think about. I just got a comment here. The total above ground storage capacity on St. Kitts is the equivalent of 1.5 days consumption.
1.5?
Yes.
Okay.
We would not consider 1 week storage capacity of gasoline or diesel to be adequate.
No.
Why have we had no significant increase in storage in the last 20 years, even as consumption has increased with our improved standard of living? Very good point.
That's a very good point.
Discuss.
You know why is that? Because as I keep saying over the years on all these talk shows, it's a simple solution why we could have that. All we have to do is sit down with the building board, the contractors, the banks, the homeowners. And that problem would easily be solved. And like I always say, make it mandatory that you must have catchment or assistant attached to any home that is building.
But the other
So
thing,
you must catch your own water while you're still on the government water.
but Cal, the other thing that needs to happen is that government urban planning needs to keep step with, and needs to not keep step. It needs to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of let's say the build out of new subdivisions, whether residential, commercial, and so
Over
on.
about 14, 15 years, I have been saying this to several governments, and none of them took up the idea. A few people would build a little cistern. A few people would get some large black tanks and things, right? But we must make it mandatory, because every year around this time, we in the same position having the same discussion.
No, but Cal, what I'm talking about is the fact that, for example, every time we add a subdivision, where you have you have residential building,
project?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and you have a new business opens or new hotel opens. The government should be doing, planning and projections, so that they can plot what is needed for internet, water. Yes, internet. Internet is a utility in the 21st century. Trust me.
Yeah, all of these projects that has been done over the years should have a reservoir on them.
Electricity, water, and all these utilities.
Because that's
They
the
should
basic
be,
necessity.
yes,
need
1 or 2
that
steps
the poverty
ahead.
assessment tell you must have,
Exactly, 1 to 3 steps ahead of what is needed, rather than
Exactly.
just,
And we won't, as I always say, and I've been saying for the whole morning, we won't have this discussion here every year that we have a dry season. We're not supposed to have any dry season, because we are upgrading with internet, we are upgrading with cable, we are upgrading with electricity. How come we are not upgrading with water, which is most important?
You know what happened? Honestly, I think that we kind of took it for granted that we will always have water.
Say we got so much water, we can't run out.
Because for years.
Okay, Cal, we have another call.
All right.
Caller, go ahead.
Good morning.
Hey,
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
This should be good.
I think. Let's hope. It might be not good, but not enough, because I'm saying it for the same idea that Carl expressed. Well, he called them sluices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in addition to those, I know what he means. Those almost like wells that the runoff can fill up. Yes, I've seen those in other places and work fine. But in addition to that, one thing we can do well here in St. Kitts and Nevis is move rocks. We can use rocks. It's a low-tech solution, I agree, but it's also cheaper. Use rocks to dam the guts. What that does is not so much that you store in water, because our soil is very sandy, loamy, so that sandy, so that it will soak through, almost immediately. But what it does is at least retain the water so that it soaks through and replenishes our aquifers and wells. Okay, because remember, one of the problems we have is that we had, I think, salt water intrusion in some places, because we had practically exhausted the freshwater supply which sat on top of the salt water.
But I think the salt water was the point that the engineer, if I could remember correctly, was making, was that because it was over at Frigate Bay, and the fact that the pipes were corroding because of the salt pond and the other aspects filtering into the ground and then affecting the pipes. Not necessarily salt water for everywhere else, it's just in that particular area.
No, I'm talking about the Bastille Valley aquifer. Mm-hmm. They mentioned that there was the possibility of saltwater intrusion because it was the fresh water in the aquifers were being exhausted and not replenished. So what I'm saying is, damming the guts would assist in the replenishment, and we wouldn't have all that wasted. We'd have flood control. We wouldn't have all this massive water coming down the guts in the first place. Okay. And it's not that you'll have these surface dams with water in them for any length of time, but the water will soak in the soil and percolate and do the filtering that they normally have before it goes into the aquifer. You know, so for some reason, the water department seems to think that when we have all this water rushing down to the sea, sure, it's probably not more than a day and a half supply, but that it's not wasted. You should supposed to be harvesting as much water as you could.
That's what I was thinking.
Right? And yes, right? I mean, don't think that, well, that can't be, that's just a drop in the ocean. You try to harvest as much as you could. The other thing is that you mentioned the tanks and how you'd get water from them. Just use a siphon. You're aware of that, right? What a siphon is?
Yeah.
Right. So you don't really have. It doesn't even have to be elevated as to a very high level. Okay, but you use a siphon and you'll get your water still. It won't be under pressure, but you'll get water from that tank.
Good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I still prefer the elevated and tank using that are gravity fed. Okay, because that again it's low tech, but it's more environmentally friendly. Okay, it doesn't use electricity with a pump. Okay, you just use gravity to connect to the regular house piping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And again, it won't be under as much pressure, but that's probably good in terms of conservation of water anyhow. Okay, but you know, I think that will be in the better solution, quite honestly.
So the people who have had cisterns, how did was it a siphon system they used to?
Well, no. Those who have cisterns, assuming that, like in most places, they're below ground.
Mm-hmm.
If they're below ground, those would have to use a pump.
No, I meant the early.
Those like to the side of the house.
The ones I meant,
Can
like way back in the day when we didn't have electricity and so on.
Right. You probably saw those like what you have if you look around some of the villages. You see, they call them dams too. They're not really dams, but basically it's a catchment, a concrete catchment area with pipes attached to them. Right. So some systems would be like that if they're above ground. So that even though they might be, let's say, even half the size of the house, at the bottom there's a pipe. Okay, that you can draw water from. But to get, like, for showers and those kinds of things, obviously you're going to need some kind of pump system to get the water up. Right. You know, but there are solutions which, that we can think of which would help the situation. And you see, what normally happens, and I hope it don't happen again, we have a drought, and then the drought breaks, we get lots of rain like yesterday, things go back to normal for a while, everybody has water, and then everybody forgets about it. You know, that is, I think, is the problem we've been having over the years, why more attention wasn't paid to it. It has to wait until we have to wait until we get crisis point to actually do something about it, and that's not good planning, that's not the smart way to do things.
Yeah, not to be reactive and not proactive.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I told you that would be good.
Now he made some really valid points, and possibly gave ideas to persons listening, and yeah.
We have another call. Caller, go right ahead. Island T.
Yes.
Hey.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey.
With regard to the issue of systems, this proposal has been made for many, many years. We have examples we can follow. On the island of St. Thomas, for over 50 years, it's been mandatory that every house must have a system whereby the water from the roof is stored. And you know why they follow it? Because if you don't store it, your only way of getting water is by buying water from the private water truck. Now, on St. Kitts, why it hasn't been done? because the people in positions of decision making have said over the years, if we do that, it will increase the cost of building houses. It will make it more expensive for people to build houses. If we had introduced 10 years ago and say, in 5 years' time, every new house must have that facility, you can plan. Even if we were to implement it next month, we could say, from the year 2025 or 2026, every new house must be built that way. It means that people who are planning would all plan that in mind. But no, like so many things, we don't have the courage to make what may seem to be politically unpopular decisions. Even when they're in the best interest of the society at large. Why? Because increasingly we are becoming a society where we expect government to hand out things to us. And so we don't make adequate supply for water on our own because we expect government to make sure it's there. We don't make adequate supply for so many things because we expect government is going to give it to us in VAT reductions and double salaries and semi-annual handouts of CBI money and all sorts of other ways.
But let me ask a question, though, to your point, in support of your point. Maybe some of that largesse can be directed to incentivizing people to do systems. Maybe no VAT. I mean, I'm getting the impression that incentives, when you say no VAT, it's like you're like a heretic. You're like a fiscal heretic. But I mean, these things have to be done.
Even if on VAT reduction day, you said the cost of storage tanks, these plastic storage tanks, will have zero VAT going for the next 5 years. Even if you said that, it is unlikely to affect the average person. They are going to sit at home and demand, why do I have no water? Failing to recognize, because none is coming down from the heavens. We should not be under any illusion that 2.5 days of rain is going to in any way relieve our water challenges. It's 2.5 days of rain. We are having, as you said earlier, even last year, 60% of normal rainfall. When I was growing up on the street where I lived, fewer than 10% of the houses had running water. Today, I'm sure fewer than 5% of the houses on the island of St. Kitts have no internal running water. And we have now washing machines, dishwashers, 3 bathrooms in a house. And so our water consumption has increased significantly, even whilst the source of water has decreased. Yet, the powers that be give us handouts in the form of platitudes. We had a previous minister of water who said, under his watch, the price of water will never go up. Well, guess what? If we implement a water desalination plant, do we expect to take electricity to generate fresh water and still charge people $20 a month for 2,500 gallons of water? I've said many times, we have no one in St. Kitts at the price that we pay for water. We pay at the moment 75 cents. Let me repeat, 75 cents for 100 gallons of water. No one in St. Kitts can lift 100 gallons of water from your public supply because a gallon of water is 10 pounds. No one in St. Kitts can lift 1,000 pounds of water. And that is what they pay 75 cents for. We are currently, according to the Water Department, paying the Marriott Hotel about $30 per 1,000 gallons for water to supply to the Frigate Bay area, and then we charge the consumers $20 for 2,500 gallons. You think it's because the Marriott is making a huge profit? It's probably what it costs them to generate the water. But we don't have what it requires to say to people, you are willing to go into the store and buy a bottle of water for $2.50, but yet people complain to pay $20 for a gallon of, for 2,500 gallons of water. There are two factors here. If the price of water was greater, people are likely to be more sensible in their consumption of water. And the price of water was greater, it means more money is coming into the public coffers to help to pay to improve the supply and maintain the existing supply. We live in a society where every time a storm is coming, they say we are going to turn off the water. In the midst of a storm, if a fire breaks out, the fire department first has to find someone from the water department to go and turn back on the water. That isn't because there'll be no water. That's not because they're trying to store the water. It's because our infrastructure is so fragile, we cannot afford to leave the water running because there are likely to be water breaks, etc. It is a reflection of the fragility of the water delivery infrastructure. Go into the hills and look, and in the areas where the water pipes come from, these sources that were built before you and I were born, and I know I'm a few weeks older than you are, and we will see how vulnerable these things are. The cost of everything has gone up, but we continue to pay for water $20, well, $18 plus $2 for the rent of the meter, $18 for 2,500 gallons of water. The only thing that has not gone up in price, the price of water has not increased in over 20 years. The only thing that has not gone up in price in over 20 years on St. Kitts is the cost of a burial plot at the Springfield Cemetery. That is still $48 after 60 years. That's a totally different story. Let's consider about the living. Gentlemen and lady, one can say much more, but one wishes you a dry, healthy, hard-working, productive day.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break because I think we have a break coming up. And Azard is here, so we'll get his take on things.
Yeah. 9:26. Take a quick break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put a Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sip and she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum a for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Here are your Horseman's Value Mart IGA specials running October 5th through the 18th. The more you shop, the more you save. For the month of October, get double points on dairy and grocery non-food items. Now, our Value Club Blue Tax specials. Act 2 popcorn, $6.99. Essential Everyday Barbecue sauces, $5.99. Sunny Delight Smooth and Tangy, $5.99. Essential Everyday Shredded and Chunk cheeses, $7.99. Arm & Hammer detergent, $19.99. Gain Ultra liquid dish detergent, $8.49. And now our very low weekly value deals. Starfish Chunk Light Tuna in water, $3.75. Essential Everyday Quick and Old-Fashioned Oats, $8.99. Quaker Granola Bars, $12.99. Colgate Toothpaste, $7.99. Dole Fruit Bowls, $14.99. IGA Essential Everyday Cereals, $9.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart and get double points for more rewards today. Continuamos en octubre con los puntos dobles y más recompensas. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
And we are back. It's 9:29.
Yes.
And AZ was just here telling us about how swimming in his backyard, and you told me you caught some crabs.
Boy, and some, some shrimp and some crayfish and those kind of things. What was the experience for you?
It was like I said. I mean, we had rain, but
yes.
I was always surprised when I would get messages from people and they were telling me it's raining cats and dogs. Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Not that we didn't get rain, but just that it wasn't raining as hard. But it did start to rain really. It really started to go at it last night.
Yeah, last night really did.
We got rain long before last night.
Yeah.
Up my way. Long before. Hey, good morning, Collie on the air.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
What's the problem, right? So, way along the lines, last caller, a little older than I am. He should have been able to mention to you all, Water Services had a section that was named Pump. He used to be digging drilling wells, every own drilling rig and saying it. Somewhere along the line, just after the 1980 election, all of these things were shut down. You don't understand why it happened. Me personally just can't understand. Because everything was put in place under Robert Watcher, They actually are telling you, I work Water Services. I had a man named Mr. Christmas. And he had a next man named Mr. Sebastian. Those are the first men who went out and engineered these things, And a man after them came named Jerome Pinney. And I just can't understand. Jerome Pinney went around the Caribbean drilling wells. I don't understand how, when I hear me talk about the administrators who caused this country to be in the situation that we are in. They had a severe program, and we used to punish these things. Men understand it after 1980, a set of mafias, I refer to them as mafias that's coming in this country and just destroy everything that we land that we when we vote the boy, the man just was the like it, sell it like it's here. Yeah, he feel of it always say, 15, 20 years they've been preaching this thing. Your opinion me used to discuss this thing. How this man into the holiday that go on a pension or go on. This man, he had a group of men working with him, like Hewlett and Hunt and all these men. And I can't understand how this thing just went down the chain. Where we paying people to deal well for us. I walk among them saying about it.
But I know Mr. Pinney used to live, I know he eventually moved to the Virgin Islands, right? Where he was based afterwards.
Right here on St. Kitts.
Oh, I thought,
right here
okay.
on St. Kitts. When we continue the point. So, at one point in time, he was contracted by the municipal administration to dig wells and need it also. As I saying to you, a brand new well, a brand new drilling with pay from Canada, 384, 85. First time I went to Nevis, when I went on that actually kept dealing with Nevis. I know I'm speaking of. Then I can tell you something. If you want all the information you want, to check out Achille Rollins. He will be able to give you all the information. Trust me. Good morning, goodbye.
All right, thank you, caller.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your call.
So the water thing, the water question seems to be on everyone's mind, huh?
I mean, because we're not getting the rainfall that we used to, so we definitely have to ensure that we set up everything now, because we don't know how bad it's going to get later. We have to find solutions now.
I mean,
honestly, because that gentleman was saying, all those persons worked on it before, maybe we should just get everybody back together. Anybody who worked in it, in the water department before, get everybody, just have a pool, no pun intended, of information and just work toward ensuring that we don't be in a worse position in a couple of years.
The thing is, the Minister, Congress, talked about a mix of solutions. I really want to see some kind of progress in the other areas, like the desalination plants that are supposed to be built. They talked about the the well that they drilled in Keon, which apparently they checked the water. The water is fine, so that's gonna come online soon. But the mix also includes compelling people to have cisterns and or water tanks or whatever, all these things, and incentivizing it, and stop acting like the VAT is holy scripture, and that it can't be suspended or along with the duties to make it easy for people. I mean, everything is going up. You can't expect someone to go find $900 to buy a tank and buy a pump, and then you want them to pay VAT and you want them to pay duty. So, hey.
I think what homeowners would have to start to do is actually contemplate future homeowners when they're building houses to incorporate, a tank in the construction, because going forward, I could only perceive the situation not to get better in terms, but possibly worse.
Call, go right ahead.
Yeah, good morning again, Jamsto.
Hey.
You heard the name Penny? Penny have so much to offer in the water system for years. The young lady there, she make a very, very important point, and I hope people downtown listening. We need to go to all these, some of them there who used to be around the department. But you have a lot, especially a clear man up I can't call his name right now, up Boardwalk. All these you got work experience from the days the man there from St. Paul who went to Africa and do this big project in Africa and set up African's water. We have it right here. But in this country, too much class. Too much. The lady, that's a young girl. And hear what she's saying. Use all these old men, call them in, talk with them, whether set up a board or something, going forward, because it could be worse. Some of these young men ain't understanding the water system, because we didn't planning going forward. Have a good day. This is Momo people on the road.
No. You're making a lot of sense. Yeah, making a lot of sense there.
Yeah. And as you know, the tanks were given to the people in the constituency, but it wasn't set up yet. So you're still at no difference in situation as it is right now. Still to be set up.
Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good morning to everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
No, I'm pretty okay. Hope you're okay as well. I understood that you caught some crab and lobster.
All kind of things. I wonder, what did you catch? Did you catch anything with all this rain?
Leave the man. Leave the man. Leave the man.
I caught what you said.
You're troubling the man. Leave the man.
No, I listened and I understand what they're saying about the sluice and whatever else to capture the water.
Mm-hmm.
Already our fogging system with the mosquitoes, it is not done often enough with the set of mosquitoes that we have now. So if we put sluice and those other stuff and the water becomes stagnant, and it is like fertile grounds for mosquitoes, then how would we really control the extent of the mosquito population we have in St. Kitts?
Sure.
Right, so we have to be very careful with that. And Jam Down just indicated that they need to bring back those old men and get ideas and have like a think pool. And we have to be mindful that there is a water board with Denison Paul and other guys providing the experience and the knowledge and guidance. So there is a board. Now, with respect to the system, we have to understand that water has a shelf life. Even the water in the bottle in the supermarkets, they have a shelf life. Because even if one bacterium escapes during the process of processing the water, that bacterium can multiply exponentially. And within a matter of days, a period of time, you could have quite a number of bacteria inside of that water. And you could test it because when you open the cover you could hear like a popping sound. I mean, that bacteria would have been building up. So that is why there's an expiration date with respect to water. If you have a cistern, there's a tendency for plant growth to take place in cisterns. And when this plant growth takes place, you have to be extremely careful, because one of the methods they use to disinfect the water is to add chlorine tablets or other chlorine compounds. Now, when these plant products mix with the chlorine, then they create byproducts of chlorine that are carcinogenic, that cause cancer. So we have a way of building things, but we don't manage them properly. And we could tell from the many government buildings we have around here, schools and everything else, we don't manage properly. So when people put in our systems and we're encouraging them, and they go and they try to disinfect the water and keep it as clear as possible, free of pathogens, it is not so easy, because when you add that chlorine, you get a byproduct that is carcinogenic. So we have to have a wider spectrum with respect to building them, managing them, and making the water inside of them safe for usage. We might not want to use the water for drinking, but sometimes we use the water for bathing. We use the water for bathing, and then what? The pathogens them get into our eyes, in our ears and nose and all sort of stuff. So we have to be very careful. It's not as simple as we may have it. That is why we really need this think tank to assist people. I guess what we need with some of these new developments is a central wastewater system, treatment system, where a lot of the wastewater would go to this particular area and it could be recycled and used for things other than domestic, maybe gardening, whatever else. But we're putting on a lot of projects, and we're not putting on any wastewater treatment system. We need centralized wastewater treatment system, so that quite a lot of the water that we use in our bathrooms and kitchens can be recycled and used over and over. That is my input. I don't know if you all would agree to some extent.
No,
we have
I mean,
to be rather careful.
Absolutely. That's that stuff you mentioned about, people well-intentioned, having a system and going and adding chlorine. Yeah, you're right. Because the reaction of chlorophyll and so on with the chlorine and the other things, right? I'm assuming
Right.
that? Yes.
And even without system, when we get water from the sources and we're putting it into the distribution system, there is a problem whether they should chlorinate at source, at the catchment, or chlorinate at the point where they're going to distribute eventually. Because when you chlorinate at source, like down Old Road place there, you put it in at the catchment, and then it comes along the distribution pipes. You have growth, you have plant growth inside of those pipes. So if you chlorinate too early, the probability would increase that you have carcinogenic chloro compounds that are produced, and then they go throughout the system. If you chlorinate it now at, they call up the village here, La Grite, it decreases the probability of these compounds being formed, because you have to travel a shorter distance. You understand? And we have to understand, Carl and them talking about Kashroy, them talking about from long time, we have to understand too that they had down some asbestos pipes. So they had to go to some major projects and remove and replace those asbestos pipes. So everything is not like once ago. And yes, we emphasize storage, but you could have 1 million storage tanks, if no water there, no water there. What are you going to put in the storage tank? Oxygen? Because we have to understand climate change would have impacted the rainfall pattern, and it's going to get even worse. So yes, we have to. Yes, the situation might be for desalination plants, I agree, but desalination plant would call for a lot of electricity as well. So we have to simultaneously maybe do the desalination plants with solar energy system to produce the required necessary energy to get the desalination plants going, because if you put 99 gallons of salt water in a desalination plant, you only get 33 gallons. And then you have to return the brine now that is left behind back to the marine environment. That itself is a problem, because return the brine that is very concentrated salt to salt solution to the marine environment, then it change up the whole ecosystem there. The fish then will have to move, migrate, then it create problems for the fishermen. Where can they find the fish? So you might need some dilution ponds before you send the brine that came from the desalination of the salt water. There's a lot of projects you have to put in place. Everything got to work in unison. There's a lot of planning. It's just not put this and put that. Then I heard James talk about the rain and the well inside of Keon. But even though you found a well in Keon, it might take until maybe next year, May, June, before Keon people could really be benefiting from the effectuated conditions that would have been improved, but it takes time. So we must be very careful when we talk, not give people false hope, because the reality is that even that you would have found water. There's a lot of testing, then you have to go down and order the stuff then from overseas. So the fittings and so could be there for the distribution, and then you do a test run with respect to the pressure that could be applied to those appliances before you can actually get things going on the ground for the people in constituency 8 on a regular basis.
Let me ask you a question.
There's a lot to be done.
You mentioned the dilution. Let me ask a question. You mentioned the dilution plant. So it means then that a desalination plant itself needs a big water supply other than the sea, because I don't know if
yes, because over Frigate Bay, Johnson, sorry to
no problem.
Short, but over Frigate Bay where they had the desalination plant, it used to create a problem with the brine, the concentrated salt solution that resulted after it and removed the fresh water. It used to create a problem with the water going back into the marine environment. So what they had to do, they built a few dilution ponds. There's a pond over there in the Gulf Coast.
Yes.
Well, they utilize those and they put them in various compartments. So you got dilution pond number 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time it reaches 5, then it is in tolerable condition to be returned to the marine environment. But you will need dilution pond unless you're going to ignore the marine environment and then create problems for fishers and those other people. You must have this dilution ponds.
Very interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, caller, for your
This was
information.
Okay.
And adding to the discussion.
Yes, absolutely.
Who knew? We had no idea it was that complicated, and he clearly pointed out all that needs to happen. It's not just an easy fix.
Caller, go right ahead.
Yes. I don't think anybody is suggesting for one moment that the solution would be simple. But the fact is, there are countries close to us, as a matter of fact, who have solved these problems, like, for instance, with the systems. And so we should look to them. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, okay? So we should look to them for how they control these things that were mentioned. In addition to that, while we're looking at the chemistry of things, the tanks, I assume, is some kind of plastic. We have to look at what can possibly happen with storage of water in these tanks. The shelf life was mentioned, but also the fact that our climate, it's very hot most of the times, which would tend to cause or spur up what can be chemical reactions with that plastic and that water, and it becomes unsafe for drinking. What would be good is if somebody can do some analysis as to how water is used in each household, like how much for flushing, how much for washing, whether dishes or clothes or whatever, how much for watering gardens, washing cars, and that sort of thing. You can see that you can divide the use, the domestic usage of water, so that for bathing and cooking, that could be used. It will require a separate piping system, obviously, but it might be well worth it if we look at the fact that how much we use so much in, let's say, even flushing a toilet once, I mean, that's what, 2-3 gallons maybe, right? Washing the car, watering the lawn, those kinds of things. Okay? If we knew that we can divide our water into that kind of usage so that it makes our investment in 2 separate piping systems worthwhile.
But let me ask you a question. I mean? Yeah, I agree. This has been, I think we may have discussed this before, but at this point, development, is it practical? I mean, because you have a lot of digging up of the place to do, right? For the whole.
You mean the change over?
Yeah, because you have to dig up the place and add the additional pipes. Because I know in some other countries they have like even 3 grades of water. You have 1 grade for drinking, 1 for like showers, and then there's they return the recycled water for like water in the lawns and stuff like that. So, I mean, we don't have.
Well,
is it even practical when you consider that we don't have any water treatment / recycling culture here?
Well, that is true, but isn't that part of development? I mean, developing isn't just about when you talk about increased standard of living and more people get water. It's not so much. It's not only about that. It's also about the same kind of recycling that you refer to, and doing things that are environmentally friendly. Yes, it comes with a cost, but you think that as we develop, as our standard of living increase, we should be able to absorb that cost. It's a cost that in the long term would be beneficial to us.
Well, it would be
It
nice.
has to be shown, and that is where the study of water usage in a household comes in.
I think what could be
People
nice
have to be
is
convinced of it,
Yeah, no, I am. It's just that. Well, I think what could probably happen is we could have a pilot project where we have they build out a subdivision, and they try a lot of these new technologies. Smart smart tech in the homes, solar power, that water system you proposed. And see how it works. That would be interesting.
But at the very least, you'd think that now we're about to embark on 2,400 new houses. That present the perfect opportunity to experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah, So I hope that's also being considered. And
exactly.
Maybe since most of our towns and villages are coastal, it's probably time to invest in better, or not necessarily better, but a fire system, fire tenders and so on, that can utilize salt water as opposed to our precious fresh water.
Point.
That would also help. But yes, we absolutely need water and sewage treatment plants. And the thing is, that's one of the things we've been talking about for years. And we just sit and watch it, watch our drains, our open drains and so on. Watch all the chemicals and so on that we use from our households just flow into the sea, just like that. And think nothing about water treatment.
True.
That time has come a long time ago, and we just keep pushing the can down the road again, waiting for some kind of crisis to develop.
I remember as a kid, and even now, visiting mechanic shops and so on, and they would just throw the old oil, the maybe this stuff they wash their hands and have to spray, and this stuff would just go down the drain.
Yeah.
And you're right. And I remember at one point thinking, how we have this saying in the culture, and I think Unexpected had a song, the earth does clean itself, meaning there's this feeling that, you just throw it down into the sea and the sea will take care of it.
And the sea will take care of it. I would not be surprised if there isn't a correlation between how we dispose of things like that and our like you said cancer rates,
Yes.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit. We're just not environmentally conscious here. Just not.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes, that's true.
All right.
Okay, great. Call, go right ahead. Okay. Well, easy. I was just trying to. I was just trying to squeeze in a call there, but
it's been
a lot of very interesting stuff. Wait, let's take this one. 6 minutes until 10. Call, go right ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, this water problem has been around for quite a while, Jam, say you know anything about the Kuwaiti drinking water project?
You mean in reference to St. Kitts or just Kuwait in general? Well, I know that that is the country that we might be getting the plants from, the donation of the desal plants. I could be wrong.
Well, the Kuwaiti drinking water project is something that started under the People's Action Movement.
Okay.
And 1995 when the government, the administration changed. That project was going on. I didn't know to what extent did it reach, but it's way back then we've been having the water problems. So I will say, and then the administration lasts for 20 years. So if way back then you had the problem, and then 27 years later, you're still having the problem. It shows that a lack of foresight, a lack of vision, a lack of concern. That's why I will just end by saying election do have consequences. That's my take on that.
True.
But find out about the Kuwaiti drinking water project, and then you could educate the public and that project.
Okay, all right. I will do that.
Yeah.
I'll look it up, yeah. Easy.
Yeah. I mean, quite a discussion this morning as we see persons, speaking about the effects of the tropical storm / hurricane, and being ever grateful that we have not been in the path of of any hurricanes. So, being grateful once again. In fact, we get a little bit of rain, and, I saw some videos of, I don't know if those were recent, the Marriott area, the Frigate Bay area with a lot of water.
Yes, the water in front. Yeah. That was from yesterday. Let's squeeze in this call. Call, go right ahead.
Hey, good morning, John. Good morning, boss.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
So far so good. Just to weigh in a little bit, and I think it was Natal who made a valid contribution. Also, Mark Mohan. The thing is that the desalination system, if you put it in the ocean, yes, you will drive away most of your marine life, like the fishes and so on. And so they divert it by putting it in the ponds in Frigate Bay. And those ponds are kept alive by, they still have tarpons that can take that high intensity of salt. So that is what's actually happening in Frigate Bay with the desalination system from the Marriott. Now, having said that, when I think about the tank system that was presented by this administration, which in my mind, I still think it's a good idea. What happened is that we all sometime or another have water in our household. And that water is held most of the time by the toilet. And having a tank, you will understand that when the water comes from the public, there is a ball valve at the end of the pipe that shuts off and opens when you use water. Now, having the tank on your property, whenever you use water from the tank, it appears as if while we have running water continuously, water will be flowing into the tank to tap it. Just like when you flush your toilet tank automatically refill itself. And so when that happens, the water keep on moving. Moving water don't get much time to be stagnant. As you heard Nital give a very good outlook as to bacteria and so on that could be catching water and so on. And most of the water that we use from those pipes is for cooking. We put them into heavy boiling, and we make tea and so on with them. But our drinking water, we purchase those, and like you say, we have a lifetime on it, whereas it should be used within a certain period of time, which is understandable. So, rather than going directly and using water, it should be boiled. And if you boil it, you practically will kill most or all of the bacteria. The other thing is that if you go to some of the small farms that we have here in St. Kitts, you will notice that they're growing some beautiful sweet peppers, some beautiful fruits and so on, and vegetables. But around those plants are clean just like the pit road. You know what they use? Chemical to kill certain weeds. But the chemical are not killing the plant that is there to protect.
Yeah.
For some reason or another, I feel like those are getting into our system, and we are not doing enough more hand weeding that we used to do before. We're doing more spraying. So those are things that we getting in our system, and I think those are seeping into the soil and getting to some of the aquifer that we have. So give one, I'll take the other. Somewhere along the line, we need to be more active in protecting and defending ourselves, because if we don't do it, no one else will.
Absolutely.
I think that I have said enough, and I continue to educate.
Yes. I think you have to, because it's 10 o'clock. No, I said I think you have to, because it's 10 o'clock.
Oh, sorry. You gotta go.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Izzy, yeah. So,
yes.
Good show. I actually recorded this, so we'll see if the newsroom, because we had a lot of great comments and suggestions and so on from some of our sharper minds.
Yep.
Or sharpest minds. Yeah. So 10:01. So once again, yeah, we gotta be grateful for.
Yeah, I have to give thanks.
Another bullet dodging.
And then I'm just looking at my phone, and while I scroll, I saw there's some people died in their sleep. If you are grateful to God for allowing Him to have you alive now, say amen.
Exactly. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. So I mean, we have a lot to be thankful for. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for today's Island Tea. Just letting the listeners know, there's no money matters today. The professor is traveling at the moment. Also, I'll be doing voices today. So today we're going to have John Francis, and we are going to be discussing some hurricane, Kalinago and Taino lore, meaning the indigenous people of the Americas, most notably the Caribbean, the Caribs, the Arawaks, and their relation to hurricanes, how they dealt with hurricanes, storms, and the importance of St. Kitts and all of that. St. Kitts. So it's going to be a very interesting discussion. So join me on Voices with John Francis. I was told some eye-opening stuff. And, of course, we'll take your calls. So join us at 11 o'clock for Voices with John Francis. We'll be discussing some hurricane lore, how it relates to St. Kitts and the indigenous peoples of the Caribbean. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So, Izzy, see you tomorrow.
Everyone stay safe.
Okay.
Yes.